You've probably eaten their products dozens of times without ever knowing it. They make the margarine in your fridge, the spreads on grocery store shelves, and the prepared foods at major retailers across America. But you've never heard their name until now. This January, Creative Foods LLC, a 60-year-old company operating behind the scenes of the food industry, just filed for bankruptcy with over $20 million in debt. And the scary part? This could be happening to dozens of companies making your food right now. Stay with me, because this story reveals a massive problem in how America's food gets made. What's up, everyone? Today we're diving into the shocking collapse of Creative Foods LLC, a company you've never heard of that's been quietly making food products for major grocery chains for 6 decades. And their bankruptcy filing reveals some disturbing truths about the food industry that affects every single one of us. But before we get into it, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because we're covering stories like this that the mainstream media won't touch. Who is Creative Foods? So first, who even is Creative Foods LLC? Creative Foods is a Baltimore, Ohio-based commercial bakery and food manufacturer that specializes in producing margarine, spreads, and perishable prepared foods for various retailers and distributors. They operate 2 manufacturing facilities, one in Baltimore, Ohio, and another in Osceola, Arkansas. Here's what's wild. Most people have no idea companies like this exist. They're called co-packers, basically invisible manufacturers that make products for the brands you recognize. They operate under strict non-disclosure agreements, so they can't even tell you what they make. Think about that. The food in your pantry right now, there's a decent chance it was made by a company you've never heard of, in a facility you know nothing about. Creative Foods is just one example, but there are hundreds of these shadow companies powering the American food supply. And now, Creative Foods has just $2.5 million in assets, but owes $20.7 million in liabilities. That's a disaster ratio. But how did a 60-year-old company get here? The perfect storm. The bankruptcy didn't happen overnight. Lost contracts, rising ingredient costs, and labor shortages triggered the bankruptcy filing. Let me break down each of these dominoes. Lost contracts. This is the big one. In the co-packing world, you're only as stable as your client list. And here's the brutal reality. A previous Creative Foods entity lost a major customer that represented 50% of their revenue, which forced them into Chapter 11 previously. When one client walks away, it can destroy your entire business model overnight. Rising ingredient costs. Since 2020, ingredient prices have been absolutely insane. Flour, oils, dairy, everything these manufacturers need has skyrocketed. But here's the catch. Co-packers usually work on thin margins with long-term contracts. So when their costs go up, they can't just raise prices on their clients. They eat the loss until they can't anymore. Labor shortages. Food manufacturing requires workers, and lots of them. The labor market has been brutal for these companies. Higher wages, difficulty finding workers, increased turnover, it all adds up. Creative Foods tried to adapt by investing in automation equipment to reduce their dependence on labor, but that requires capital they apparently didn't have. The CEO, Bob Burger, tried to save the company by investing in domestic equipment to reduce reliance on international suppliers and automate production lines. But it was too little, too late. The bigger picture. Now here's where this gets really concerning, and why you should care even if you've never heard of Creative Foods. The global contract packaging market is projected to reach $120 billion by 2030. That's huge. This isn't some niche corner of the food industry. This is the food industry for many products you buy. And right now, these companies are getting hammered. We're seeing a wave of bankruptcies across the food and restaurant sectors. Chains like Red Lobster, TGI Fridays, and Hooters all filed for bankruptcy recently. But the co-packers? They're suffering in silence because nobody knows they exist. Think about the ripple effects. When Creative Foods files for bankruptcy, the filing indicates no funds will be available for distribution to unsecured creditors after administrative expenses are paid. That means suppliers, vendors, and workers are getting screwed. Small businesses that sold them ingredients or services might not see a penny of what they're owed. And what about the grocery stores that relied on their products? They now have to scramble to find replacement suppliers, which could mean product shortages, higher prices, or lower quality alternatives on the shelves. Warning signs. The scariest part? Creative Foods isn't alone. The warning signs are everywhere. 1. Consolidation in the food industry means fewer companies controlling more of the supply chain. When one fails, the impact is bigger. 2. Rising interest rates have made it harder for companies to service existing debt. Creative Foods filed under Subchapter V, which is designed for smaller businesses with debts under a certain threshold, but they're still drowning. 3. The shift in consumer behavior of people eating out less, cooking at home more, then back to eating out has made demand unpredictable. These manufacturers need consistent volume to survive. 4. Competition from international suppliers who can produce cheaper products is squeezing domestic manufacturers out of the market. The co-packing industry operates on razor-thin margins. One major disruption, losing a client, a spike in costs, a supply chain issue, and companies can spiral into bankruptcy within months. What this means for you. So what does Creative Foods bankruptcy mean for you as a consumer? First, expect potential price increases. When companies like this go under, the remaining suppliers have more pricing power. Less competition means higher prices. Second, quality concerns. As companies scramble to find replacement manufacturers, quality control can slip. The new supplier might not maintain the same standards. Third, supply chain instability. Your favorite grocery store products might suddenly be out of stock or temporarily unavailable if they were made by bankrupt suppliers. Fourth, job losses. These facilities employ real people in communities across America. Creative Foods operated in Baltimore, Ohio, and Osceola, Arkansas, smaller towns where manufacturing jobs matter. When these companies fail, entire communities feel the impact. And here's the thing that should terrify you. You won't even know it's happening until your favorite product disappears from the shelf. These companies operate in the shadows, so their failures are invisible too. The collapse of Creative Foods LLC is a warning sign of deeper problems in America's food supply chain. For 60 years, they quietly made products we consumed without thinking about it. Now they're gone, with millions in unpaid debts and an uncertain future. And they're not the only ones. As we move through 2026, watch for more of these stories. The companies making your food are struggling, and most of us have no idea. So here's my question for you. Does it concern you that so much of our food supply is made by companies operating in complete secrecy? Should there be more transparency about who actually makes our food? Let me know in the comments below. If this video opened your eyes to something you didn't know about, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that goes deeper than the headlines. I'll see you in the next one.